is Yogya Bhatia and I am a legal intern at LEXIS and Company. Today I'll be talking about right to free and compulsory education. What is the importance of free and compulsory education? Education is the basic requirement for the overall development of a human being. A nation can never develop without its citizens being educated, as citizens play a major role in the growth of the country. In India, a large population does not know how to read and write their own name. According to the 2004 Global Education Report released by UNESCO, India has got the largest number of illiterates, with the illiteracy rate being 34%. The reason for such a huge rate of illiteracy is poverty and unavailability of opportunities for the poor and needy who do not have access to education. The implementation of free and compulsory education was the best initiative that could be given to the poor and needy children who are unable to get education due to the lack of resources. Legal provisions and cases law dealing with the right to free and compulsory education in India. Article 45. Under the Constitution of India, right to education was not given as a fundamental right but was included as a TPSP under Part 4 of the Constitution. Article 45 of the Constitution of India, which was enacted after the independence, stated that the state shall provide early childhood care and education to all the children below 6 years. In February 2010, giving effect to the 86th Amendment Act, the article was substituted. The substituted article states that for a period of 10 years, the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children below 14 years. Mohini Jain was the state of Karnataka. This case has led to the foundation of the right to education. In this case, Mohini Jain, a medical student, filed a petition challenging the action of a private institute which was charging higher fees from students who did not get admitted to a government seat. One of the issues raised before the Supreme Court was whether the right to education is guaranteed to the people by the Indian Constitution or not. The court, in the absence of the Constitution provision for the right to education, held that right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 includes right to education, as education is required for the overall development of personality, without which one would not be able to enjoy one's right to life. The purpose of the right to life is baseless without the right to education. J.P. Unnikrishnan was the state of the Andhra Pradesh. The decision given in the Mohini Jain's case was challenged in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court restricted the view given in Mohini Jain's case and held that every child has a fundamental right to free education till 14 years of age, after which it is limited by the state's economic capacity and development. M.C. Mehta vs. Union of India. Due to Unnikrishnan decisions, Article 45 of the Constitution of India has acquired the status of fundamental right. It is not necessary that every fundamental right is mentioned in Part 3 of the chapter. Article 21A 2002. In 2002, the 86th Constitution Amendment Act was enacted, which empowered the step towards free and compulsory education in the Constitution of India. Following changes were brought by the amendment. It inserted Article 21A, which mandates the state to provide free and compulsory education to children belonging to the age group of 6 years to 14 years. There was a substitution of Article 45, which provides that the state shall provide early care and education to all the children below 6 years. It amended Article 51A by adding Clause J to the Article 51A, which made it obligatory for a parent to provide education to his ward or child between 6 to 14 years. The right of children to free and compulsory education. When did it come into force? On 1st April 2010, the legislation came into force. Why the right of children to free compulsory education Act 2009 was enacted? Rights of children to free and compulsory education Act 2009 is the enabling legislation, that is, it was enacted to give effect to Article 21A of the Constitution. What does the right of children to free and compulsory education 2009 provide for? Right of children to free and compulsory education Act 2009 provides for free and compulsory full-time elementary education to a child who is below 14 years of age. A child's admission to an appropriate class depending on his or her age if a child has never been admitted to any school. For keeping the child at par with other students, it also provides for special training. Duty and responsibility of the government, local authority and parents for providing free and compulsory education to a child. Norms and standards for the school consisting capacity of children, pupil-teacher ratios, teaching hours. Prohibition on physical punishment, mental harassment, screening procedure for qualifying the admission, any kind of fees, private, tuition by the teachers and running unrecognized schools. What is meant by free and compulsory education under the right of children to free and compulsory education Act 2009? Right of children to free and compulsory education Act 2009 specifies that compulsory education means the obligation of the government not only to provide free and elementary education to a child, but also the responsibility of the government to ensure compulsory attendance, admission and completion of elementary education of every child from 6 to 14 years. Free education means that no child shall be liable to pay any kind of fee or charges which might have prevented the child from attending and finishing elementary school. There shall be no direct or indirect charges on the child or his or her parent for elementary education. It is the responsibility and the duty of the government to incur all the expenses for providing the elementary education to a child. What is meant by elementary education under the right of children to free and compulsory education Act 2009? Clause 2F of the Act defines elementary education as the education given a school from the 1st to the 8th class. Are there any special provisions for a child with disabilities? Yes, according to the provision of Section 3 of the Act, a child with disabilities will be provided elementary education from the age group of 6 to 18 years, according to the Chapter 5 of the Person with Disabilities Act of 1996. Thank you.